Hello, welcome to the Black Salt Mirror. I got a really weird message about this one today, and it said, "This is the one for the people that cry themselves to sleep at night." And I think it's a unique connection between the heart and the eyes. I've never heard anyone talk about this before, but when I'm sad, I can feel pain in my chest, but it feels like it comes up in a wave and comes out my eyes, energetically speaking. I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but that's the place I'm doing this reading from today, strangely. There are a lot of things that I always thought of as my unique experiences that I never thought I'd share with anyone because they're weird. I don't know if this is gonna stand up in here. But the more videos I make for this channel, the weirder and weirder it gets. There's always comedy to be had. Green, which is what this color is if you can't tell. Green is for the heart, and it doesn't want to light. I can try to move it over here where you can still see it without knocking things over. Be a very exciting video to make where I just start a random house fire as we're going along. So, this is for the people who cry themselves to sleep at night. Here we go. You've spent your whole life making accommodations for yourself. And what that means is everything that you do for like the big life decisions, for emotional management, for anything that feels significant long-term for you, has always felt like a compromise. Like when people talk about what they're called to do or what they think they're going to be doing or like what their soul lights up with, you've never been able to achieve that because it doesn't ever feel like it's an option for you, and the more you try, the more you feel like you have to settle, so you stop trying. And you just settled into this place where your heart feels sad. And you have that tightness in your chest like you want to cry, but you don't because it's just your life. Right? The jobs that you like always go sideways, and your relationship's always gonna drift away. People start to get sick of you and disenchanted with you, which is sad because when they first meet you, it's really exciting. People seem to really like you up front. But then it's like at some point, this illusion of you that they had shatters, and you are the disappointment. And Spirit is here to tell you that's not the case. You are a mirror. And at first, the people who aren't triggered by you immediately repelled, which is also a common occurrence. But the people that take a liking to you think that they see something about themselves that they want to be reflected in you. However, the longer they get to know you, they realize it's a you that they see, and they feel inferior because you are the next step up. You are the example by which they are meant to learn from. And they don't want to take the next step up. They don't want to be friends with somebody who's doing the thing that they haven't accomplished yet, or has the thing. It's jealousy in a sense. But you were designed to trigger people, either by making them feel inadequate, which is an immediate reaction, the ones that don't like you, because they see right away that they can't be the thing that you're mirroring to them, and they think you're the problem because you judge them when you're just existing. And the second category, which is the sad situations in your life, which is just where you thought you had friends and you thought you had your people. Oops, kicking the table now. As I say, your friends, because they're not your friends. Because people that truly love you must love you for you, which means they have to know you. And if the only thing that they know is the way that they think you appear, and if it's about them ultimately, because they eventually get triggered by it when they realize you're not the thing that they projected onto you, then it's about them ultimately, and it's about their delusions of who they are. I'm sure you've seen a person who's very open about it in their lives, who's the kind of person that goes around announcing who they are, how chill they are, how fun they are, how relaxed they are, how they do all these things. But you look at the way that they move and you're like, that's not how you live your life. That's not who you are. It's who you say you are. And the reason that you say you are that way all the time is because you know it's not who you are. So you have to go announcing it to people, hoping that they'll buy that instead of watching what you actually are. Because that's not what people are seeing. So the point of all that was by example of the kind of disappointments you've had in your life and the lack of stability and feeling like it's always one step forward, two steps back. And I see these feet in boots like slipping on mud trying to go up a hill. It's kind of like a rocky hill, but you keep sliding and you keep trying to climb and your feet keep sliding. And every time that you think you made a bit of progress, you end up sliding back down. And you keep looking up and you're like, I'm not even getting anywhere with this. If this keeps happening, I'm never going to make it. So why should I even try? And there's a large collective who's included in here who will feel like this. They'll feel like they were just disappointed in every way. They were never going to get what they wanted or what they thought life was going to be like. A lot of you will remember past lives, so you will have come into this life with an expectation of how things should have been. So it's also a series of disappointments that things aren't like you expected them to be. People aren't full of integrity and kindness the way you expected them to be, because you came into the world like that and you greet the world like that, and then you don't get that in return. It's very disappointing and confusing, and you feel used. That one came through strongly. And you put your guard up. And you just at some point accepted the fact that you were never going to get these things that you wanted or expected or felt like you should be getting out of life. And they're saying no more. It's not going to be that way anymore. You're not going to get the short end of the stick anymore. Because now your heart throat is open. And they said it like that, heart throat. And I can feel it when I say it like that, coming up out of my throat. Now is the time to speak. This collective has been silenced and in hiding. And I think many of you feel like you've been actively concealed from something or someone or some energy. You may have even been told that by your guides or in readings, but no more. And they say, that's the end. Now you speak. Now the cloth has been taken back, the veil has been lifted. Now this collective sings. Our collective sings. And so I have a suspicion that all of you have some sort of artistic outlet, because that's usually how these kinds of expressions come out. The emotional, visual, vocal, movement, possibly too, dancing. And whatever that is, you need to lean into it really hard right now. And you need to speak through your art. And you need to use your voice. And you need to tell the truth. They specifically say it like that. You need to tell the truth, as though it's some greater cosmic truth that you need to communicate out into the world. And the more of us that speak it, the more it weaves the spell, because words are spells. You know, before we had contracts and before we had deeds and agreements, people would stand up and say they're married, and they'd be married, or they'd give their word to repay someone a loan. And the word was the contract. And that's how it's always been. Your word has always been a contract. Your word has always been a spell, because spells are contracts with the divine and with whoever you're talking to. So now it is time to make a contract with your higher self and sing this new plane of existence into being with all the wrath of your brethren. So go out and sing.